From the moment you were born to the moment you leave this world and the experience that is life, a consistent will 99% of the time be family. And when I say family, I'm sure that the first thing that springs to mind is blood-related family. But I think you can have family that is of no relation. I mean, hell, I have tattoos for a man I called Grandad who was of no relation to us at all. So I figured let's yap about chosen family. So join me and let's take a break from life for a bit and let's ramble about the world. See, for me, when it comes to family, it's all about what they do, how they showcase their care for you. See, if you can ring up your best friend and they will instantly answer, maybe even depending on time, will react differently. Now, if you rang up your second cousin, would they? Obviously, some people's would, and that's due to the relationship that they have, but I can say that mine wouldn't. My best friend would, but my cousin wouldn't. An even more important measurement for me is who do I want to tell when things are going good? See, a problem that I have is that when everything is going wrong, there's no limitations, it feels, to who can know. There is nothing wrong with the people who I don't want to tell or that wouldn't answer the phone. And it's not like I'm sitting holding a grudge. I don't really see a point in holding grudges. In fact, I actually feel a sense of anxiety when standing my ground with somebody I care for or have some form of relationship with. But that's for other reasons that don't really need to be touched on upon this yap session. Regardless, point being, just because my second cousin is blood doesn't mean that he will do more or even feel more toward me than someone who isn't. If that made sense, then anyone adopted or with adopted family wouldn't love them as much as blood, and I think that couldn't be further from the truth. The people who make you safe, feel comfortable, feel confident, and are honest with you, regardless of what last name they have, those are the ones who are the real family. I have a quote that I've said many times when talking about my views on certain friends, and I can't really remember where I first heard it, but it simply goes, blood is thicker than water, but mud is thicker than blood. I would say I have multiple mud brothers. Hell, I had a mud grandfather. That's not to say I don't love my family, it's just as someone who was at the bottom fell so low. The people that could have been there, the ones whose label suggests it's somewhat mandatory, they were nowhere. The ones with no obligation, those are the ones that were there, standing tall and giving me their hand and saying, get up, you're not alone. So, due to this, due to experiences, I truly have very limited family. Even some people with the same last name are not my family. I know my family, and I think you should too. You should think who are the ones who will really help. The ones that won't say I can't help when something goes wrong, but the ones who say I don't know how I can help, but we will find a way to fix it. The camaraderie, like the band of Hawk, is almost more important than the actual acts. I don't need you to be a millionaire and give me your money. If you're a millionaire, I just need you to be there for me. We are humans. We are meant to be social creatures, meant to help and progress via interactions with others. The ones that show that camaraderie gain so much of an importance to us in our lives, become such core parts of our very beings, the very image of self we've become. My granddad was never blood related, but as long as I live, I will call the old man who was just a stranger at first my granddad. My children will know of him, and hopefully theirs too. That is the power that someone who is true family will have. Now, I understand that the way I'm talking about family and potentially portraying mine might appear like the perfect family, but it's not. Arguments are still had, heated interactions, words are not needed said, and even with just those small amount of things, someone could say that they're not true family because of the issues. But those issues are exactly why they are family. We can have these interactions, these engagements that are less than enjoyable and maybe not speak for a bit, but I sure as shit know if I call on any of them, regardless of our last interaction, I can count on them. I can count on the fact that we have genuine love for each other and want to see each other do well. Going back to my granddad and children knowing, it's a weird one, as I almost never think about those things. The thoughts of him being a random person at the start. Even from the start, I look back and see my family. And he's not the only one. I would go as far to say I have almost as many mud relatives as blood relatives, which is wild, I know. I'm not Mr. Popular. I'm actually Mr. Extremely Picky, which isn't a bad thing in this case, as I'd say, just like every other person probably, that my family is the best, and that's more due to the amount of love I have for them, but I feel so do most people. Obviously you might not, and that's due to the situation you're in. But I can only speak on as much as I know from my perspective. Throughout the hail, people I call family are the ones who gave me an umbrella, tried at least to shelter me from the storm when they knew it had got too much. So ask yourself, if you could put your family in a room, your friends also, which ones will try and shelter you from the hail, and which ones will shelter themselves and leave you? Regardless, I think that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the world from my perspective. I hope you find your true family. Thank you for watching, listening to me ramble. Stay safe.